Hi, this is Mick Jagger. Thank you so much for being there for us for the last 50 years.
1971-72, we were still on a normal schedule, but the building was really overcrowded. They decided to do an activity hour. Once a week for an hour, students could go to a club or they could go to their homeroom and study or just do whatever they wanted. And I came up with the idea, why don't we create a radio show that plays in the rooms that would like it? We would grab an old little turntable and a mic and a little mixer and then feed the programming into a reel-to-reel. We probably had 50 plus kids that wanted to be on this pseudo radio station piping music into the cafeteria.
You probably have a closet at home that was similar to what we started with, I think. Well, it had a size to it, but it was, it was a kind of dungeon-like. And it wasn't a big room, no windows, but we made do.
As we went along, we were doing fundraising, trying to buy more professional equipment. And so near the end of that second year, I went into the high school principal, Jerry Klingbeil, and said to him, we have a lot of radio equipment now. I'm thinking we might be able to put a radio station actually on the air and give kids real radio experience. Well, he liked that. He said, give me more information. What would it cost? And so on and so forth. And so I came up with, the info that was needed. He submitted it to Phil Reinfeldt, PR, who is the superintendent of schools. He liked it. And we made the proposal to the school board, and they went along with it. We applied to the FCC for a broadcast license. We received a construction permit, and we got the go-ahead. So we went on the air. That was April 7th of 1975.
It was very interesting. It was new, so we had a lot of things that we had to learn. We had mistakes that went on now and then. The most important part was everybody got along like family. It was very inclusive. Anyone was welcome at all. Didn't matter who you were. If you wanted to work on the station, you could work. You could do something. We'd find a job for you.
One of the things that I proposed was that it would be all-encompassing, that we wanted a cross-section of the student body involved with this, that it wasn't just music kids or drama kids or sports kids or whatever. It would be a cross-section of the student population.
We had a director staff, which we had a news director, a program director, sports director, music director, promotion director, publicity director, traffic director. We had people that did actual jobs that they would be known in an actual radio station. And then under them, they all had a staff that they worked with that did with the different jobs that needed to be done, whether it was programming or writing up the program logs or doing publicity for the station. There was all kinds of jobs to be done.
I did the office work. I was traffic director for a couple of years, but normally I was on the traffic staff. I had no desire to go on the radio.
If WBSD were just, everybody coming on the air and horsing around, it's not worth the money that's expended to keep it on the air. But if it's a meaningful situation where people are learning skills that they can take with them for the rest of their life, communication skills are so important in this day and age, then it makes it worthwhile.
It was exciting. Here we are. I was a freshman, 14 years old, and I'm program director of a high school radio station.
You learned how to run an audio board. You learned how to actually conduct a radio program. You learned how to maintain the operations of a radio station. You learned really everything you needed to know to go out in the field and do radio professionally. And there are a number of people back around the time I was there that ended up doing just that, getting jobs at commercial stations and later on thriving.
FM 89. A community service of the Burlington Area School District, WBSD, Burlington.
It's 28 degrees in Burlington, and I'm Jeff Schoen with the WBSD Burlington Area School District News Report.
So if you look at the early days of WBSD, the programming was easy listening music. There was little talk segments. The school superintendent did a show. There was news about Burlington. We covered the city council.
We wanted it to be Burlington School District radio station, not just Burlington High School. So we went to the junior high, talked with them to try to get future people that would be coming to the school that could work with us.
When I was in 8th grade at the junior high, Jim Medeiros came to our classroom and talked about WBSD and invited anybody who was interested to come and join the radio station, that there was room for everybody. And it was something that I really was interested in.
And we went to St. Mary's also to get some of their students, if they were interested, to come and work on the air and give them a chance to be on radio.
I loved doing it. I ended up becoming president of, we had broadcasting club. St. Mary's is a small school. Being involved with something at Burlington High School was a great opportunity to meet people I probably would have never met otherwise.
WBSD has been made such a difference in my life. It brought me to a group of people. We all had a love of music. I didn't belong. I wasn't in sports, I wasn't in band, but I loved music.
With music, it was kind of an interesting time, the late 70s, because you had disco happening, you still had a lot of mainstream rock happening, you had the new wave coming in with a lot of artists in that genre. And some singles, you just wanted to take a chance on to see how they would do.
They decided to give a progressive rock show to me and another student, Lisa Westfall. I'll see you on the dark side of the moon. It was a first because we were the first women to have an evening progressive rock show.
The excitement for me is I worked on the radio station before it went on the air. But then when it went on the air, I had recorded one of my first songs, a song called Yo-Yo. I wish I could find a copy of it now. But it went over the airwaves and I was ecstatic, tickled pink. I mean, a feeling like that for a small town guy who had just kind of learned to play guitar and sing, all of a sudden has a record on the radio. It's a thrill and a half.
Sweet dreams are made of these.
No more show tunes, no more classical music. We were still, I think, doing some jazz. The alternative scene was really big. You know, the retro 80s.
I remember I was in broadcasting class one time and Terry Havel and the music director at the time, Scott Grismeyer, were getting into it on whether or not we should play a song or whatever. And Scott was leaving the album in the studio and letting people play it. And Terry took a screwdriver and on that exact track on the album, scratched it all the way around so you couldn't play that track.
I've got a gift of vasectomy.
Couldn't play Vasectomy by Fill in the Blanks. There was also an AC/DC song, I forget which one it was, but that was not allowed. And we played them anyway.
WBSD, back in the 70s and early 80s, had press passes to Milwaukee Brewer games. So you could actually get there at 5 o'clock when the players were going onto the field. When they let the press in, they didn't open the gates till 6. And here I was 15 years old, down in the field, interviewing the Milwaukee Brewers. And this is the 1980, 1981, 82 Brewers. So I'm interviewing Robin Yount, Paul Molitor, Gorman Thomas.
I remember kind of when I was a freshman and sophomore and maybe wasn't playing varsity, but we would go and do the varsity games on the road, and it would be, you know, Waterford or Union Grove and some rickety press box, and we'd be scrambling to find some phone jack to plug into or running a cable, you know, 30 feet down the back of the press box, or, you know, snaking it through, you know, the bleachers to try to plug in somewhere. And then you still didn't really know if you were on the air or not.
We had bought a Marty unit. Marty is a portable transmitter that you send a signal back to the station, and that allowed you to go on the air from about a 25-mile radius. And that allowed us to do a lot more remotes.
Some of my fondest memories of WBSD were, of course, all of the broadcasts, whether they were remote broadcasts or on location where we'd have to set up a Marty unit from Chocolate Fest or something like that. So just all of the production that went into getting this event, live on the air was so much fun.
Jose called me in one day, this is around 2002. He said, "How can we run the station at night without having kids there?" I said, "Well, we have to automate." And I gave him and the business manager the prices and thinking they're never going to go for it. And it cost us around 20-some thousand bucks for the automation, but they put it in place the fall of the next year. We call it live assist or full-time voice tracking automation. So now they're getting a taste of, again, what you will really do in broadcasting. So it's, again, hands-on training that you will learn what to do on the high school level, so you're capable of being able to go out into the real world and fit it right in. And that's what we did until the time I left.
Hi, I'm Morgan Ostwick, the student director of WBSD, and here's our tour. Here are all the photos of our current broadcasting students, as well as staff members.
WBSD today is a AAA radio station. It is really preserving the tradition of the past in terms of the founders that created this place, the passion behind it in terms of our sound, our format, but then today it's looking to expand outward beyond just turning it on the dial in your car. We now have, with the advent of the internet, listeners from literally all over the world.
Okay, this is the map of our listeners from around the world. We stream worldwide at 89WBSD-FM.com. We have listeners all the way in the middle of the Pacific and in Antarctica, and there's some pictures of them up there.
A group of researchers that found us on the internet, and they say, "We love your sound."
And over here is our board, which is the layout of, when everybody does their shifts.
Our show is Women in Rock, which is a specialty show. It's like no other out there.
We discuss who does what. So I'm going to be like front selling, and then she's going to back sell. So we just go back and forth.
We try to pick songs that are not only new releases, but some old releases as well.
I feel very empowered because it's all women and their music is amazing. So it makes me feel like I can do anything.
It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.
Went to the Catholic high school and grade school here, but came to BSD for radio when it came on in '75. I broadcast baseball games. Came back, and my kids were doing the radio because they were in the school here, and I used to come in and do my daughter's show with her. And when she graduated, they said, "Do you want to take over her show?" And I've been doing it since. I do a show called The Eclectic Collection, Sunday mornings from 9 to 11 Central Time. And it's primarily folk music, but because it's eclectic, we get into a lot of other stuff. I bring in guests.
WBSD has helped me. I make records. Friends of mine and people I know make records, and we get airtime.
We have our conference table, where we eat lunch, have meetings, other cool things, as Mr. Gilding would say. This is a 4-time platinum plaque that we got from Passenger.
And a student came in, happened to be my grandson, Sawyer Gilding. He said, "Papa, I found this artist I think you're really going to like." And I listened to it, so I said, "Well, we'll put it on."
Only know you love her when you let her go.
Let Her Go from All the Little Lights album. And I looked on the charts, nobody else had it on the charts. And so our IAA, they wrote a little note, said, "We appreciate you giving our album and the song a lot of love, and you were the first in the country to play Let Her Go."
Okay, this is our wall for scholarship winners of the Jim Lips LaBelle Scholarship. It's a couple $1,000s typically, and it's given out to a few of the WBSD students each year that are seniors.
Jim Lips LaBelle is a DJ for many, many years at KTI in Milwaukee. He was the student director back in 72, 74 through 75.
Here's our live on-air room. To be able to go on air here, you have to have an FCC license. Here at this school, if you take the broadcasting class, the final for broadcasting class is the FCC license test. And so if you pass it, then you're able to go on air here at WBSD. I'm one of the people that passed it, so that's how other kids here are able to do so. And then we also live broadcast our football and basketball games for both boys and girls.
Welcome to the 89.1 WBSD broadcast. I'm Nathan Hines, and joining me is Derek Varbencourt. We're in Don Dalton Stadium on Tony Romo Field tonight.
Here's the transmitter room. As Mr. Gilding would say, I don't know much about this one.
My duties currently is make sure the transmitter is in compliance. Right now we're running at 520 watts. So any of the electronics, all the wiring that's behind me, any of the computer systems that we have to do, anything goes bad or out, or when we moved from the old high school to the new high school, a lot of it had to be redone. We had to go up into the roof systems. The new antennas on the roof upstairs, they had to put an I-beam across the entire school to support the new tower.
This way is our production room. Right now, Mr. Gilding is recording his midnight shift. For me, I host the countdown show. Over here's our schedule, where we all sign up for shifts. And it's surrounded by my wonderful pictures of Grover. Got a bathroom, microwave, refrigerator. In our green cabinets over here, we have merch, magazines, other things that we just need to keep tucked away. Over here we have our big book that has all of our CDs, albums, alphabetized with all their numbers so that we can find them in the archives. This is the first CD vault. Starting in the back and coming forward, we have over 52,000 CDs. And the rest of them spill over into this room, where we also have our jazz CDs and our holiday CDs. And in the back is the music and programming room, where Heather does all the programming and Mr. Gilding picks out all the music.
The music selection is very time consuming. We listen to 300, 400 a week. Many times I'll put together CDs and I'll hand them out to the students. They say, pick, here's 25, pick the three you like the best. Every week we do two charts. We do the AAA chart, where we take our top 80 songs and we type them up, listen to them, send them to them. That's the one that the artists look at and the agents look at. And then the other one is album charts, which is the North American Community and College chart. All the music, because we work with the agents and the artists and the labels, they send all the music to us free. Also, we have something called Play MPE, which gives us all the music we want as well. We play what we want to play, and we play stuff that nobody else plays.
This is Mr. Nye's broadcasting classroom. He also teaches film and public speaking.
As an educator, I feel this is a gold mine in terms of the students. It's something that really sets them apart. A lot of extra benefits by going through a radio program or working at a radio station. Students have a leg up in terms of their ability to communicate, their ability to go ahead and not be intimidated by equipment, to be able to see something like sports or a music concert in a whole different light, and how that can be really inspiring, and also just music appreciation.
And back here is our vinyl vault, where we have over 7,000 vinyls. And And that will conclude our tour of 89.1 WBSD.
What I don't know is if people in Burlington understand what a true gem they have in their own hometown.
I think of us as a community station in a high school setting.
It's nice to have football games and your local stuff that's happening. It's a great thing for the community. I mean, there ain't a lot of communities that have a local radio station.
You can listen to this thing anywhere in the world. You couldn't do that in 1975, but now we can. And that is what makes BSD really special, that this town of Burlington has this megaphone that goes worldwide. Love it.
I think WBSD has given me an opportunity to grow myself.
I had no idea that I would have so many responsibilities here at the station, getting shifts done and making sure that other students are getting their shifts done. If I were to take away something from WBSD, it would be nice leadership skills that it has shown me.
The influence of this station, it can't be fathomed how, just the confidence something like this does for them. And the knowledge base that students get out of WBSD. Thousands of students have been through our station and going on to successful careers.
Taking classes with Havel just kind of opened my mind as to what could be. Even though I didn't end up in radio, I went into television. I saw the media as a possibility. Even though it was still kind of a dream and it seemed a long ways off, it maybe just planted a kernel that it was something I could maybe do.
If WBSD were just, everybody coming on the air and horsing around, it's not worth the money that's expended to keep it on the air. But if it's a meaningful situation where people are learning skills that they can take with them for the rest of their life, communication skills are so important in this day and age, then it makes it worthwhile.
So it really gave me the confidence to put myself out there in the world. And also I taught for many years in a university where you also have to really put yourself out there. So it was really pivotal in the formation of my later life. And I'm so grateful for my time there.
Right after school, I had actually gone to Gateway for radio broadcasting. They had a program. I didn't even make it through the first month. The teacher pulled me aside and said, "Why are you here?" And I was dumbfounded. I want a degree. He said, "You already know more than what I'm going to teach you at the end of this program." The teacher said, "You shouldn't be here. You should go find a job in radio." And my first job was at WRKR in Racine. And I was traffic director there. They didn't even think about it. They just hired me at that interview.
Well, I know that WBSD has helped many of us in our careers. I realized it at the time, but it wasn't until after I'd spent some time in radio and in other parts of my career where I look back and I can honestly say, that's something that WBSD set me up for success with. Certainly working in commercial radio as a teenager, there's no way I would have been able to do that without those experiences. And the level of expectation and professionalism, just a great lesson to have learned at such a young age.
I would say the fondest memory would be camaraderie, friends. The station was a place to be at the old school. We hung out downstairs in the old office area, or if you're on the air, there was always people coming and going. And we were on 3 different floors and 4 different rooms back then.
Do I have any good stories that we can use? I have a lot of stories that we cannot.
I think the best one I had was the group Styx came out with the song Lady, which just flew off the charts.
Lady, when you're with me, I'm smiling.
Before that, they were a medium band who were playing in smaller clubs. Terry Havel had booked them for a dance at the high school, and they were under contract, and this was signed 6 months before Lady came out. So when Lady came out, they're playing big stadiums, and they did not want to play the high school. We had them under contract, so they had to. And they came when they played, but they didn't bring sound or lighting people. We had to do that ourselves. We had to provide the lighting and sound for them because they were upset. But they played, they did a real good concert, and we had a great band at the high school. A lot of people. It was very packed that night.
Good stories that we can use.
I play a banjo, and I play a lot of music with a lot of friends in Burlington. Great community of people here in Burlington. And I bring them on the air to share their music, and it's a wonderful experience.
Polka on a banjo.
The one thing about WBSD, it gave you the opportunity to really exercise your creative muscle. Burlington High School, around the time of Nadia Comaneci and Olga Corbett, was thinking about putting together a gymnastics team. And I ended up helping out, I guess, with the support of that by doing an on-air routine.
Okay, let me get up. It's been a long time since I've been on a balance. Ow. Oh, wow. It's been such a long time since I've been on a balance beam.
It's really an opportunity where you did theater of the mind radio.
Good stories that we can use. Yes. One of the greatest times of my life was doing Thursday nights on WBSD. I mean, it was just, we went in and played what we wanted and had a good time and BS'd back and forth. And it was very akin to what I do now. They had, Terry would have guest speakers come in. They had Bob Reitman come in when Reitman and Miller were at their zenith, and he was talking. There were a whole bunch of us in the lunchroom. He was very popular, and I started heckling him, and he made me come sit down front. And he's like, "You're gonna make $1 million a year in radio one day." And I'm like, "I'll take half of it in cash right now if you got it." Right? I haven't made the $1 million a year yet. $1 million overall, maybe, if we add it all up. It's a labor of love.
WBSD helped me in so many ways. I'm just in high school learning accountability and responsibility and leadership and working with a team and making things happen and doing what you say you're going to do. So that was like a great lesson in high school. From a career standpoint, it's made all the difference. I've been in radio for 38 years. And if I didn't step foot in WBSD and hadn't started there, I never would have had the career I did. Like everything I've done started right there because of that radio station and because of Terry Havel.
Just like to thank Terry Havel for everything he's done for the station and for all the people involved and how many lives he's changed and how many people are better off today because they have met him and worked with him.
He opened up a lot of avenues of learning for us. He encouraged me to grow. He was really understanding through some of the most difficult times because I was difficult at times. I was angry, I was anxious, I was going through a lot of stuff. So I'm gonna get emotional now. I really can't express how much that meant to me and how important he and WBSD was in my life.
I'm hoping that people think I'm a good guy and I cared a lot about the people I worked with, that my ego was left in check, that I was there to help people, not to better myself. I'd like to think that, I created something for people that they've been able to take with them for the rest of their lives. And it had an influence on them.
It's something that gets in your blood and causes you to really want to invest your time, your efforts, and you're on a journey to ultimately achieve the impossible, where a small town in the middle of Wisconsin that has a radio station because of the effort that people have been willing to do from the very beginning until now to really apply the best of themselves to make the journey worth it.
We stand on the shoulders of giants. I mean, people have come before us, put this together, they added this, they got new equipment, they did this, and then now we have satellite equipment and we're streaming worldwide. I mean, we've taken it to the next level, but we didn't build this ourselves. It's been built brick by brick by brick over years, 50 years.
Congrats to the Burlington Area School District. They support the station. They could have easily sold the license to somebody else. They believe in it, And I'm so proud that 50 years later, they still think it's a viable entity for young people to be a part of.
My future goal is to go to college and graduate and become a teacher.
Some of my future goals is to graduate high school and go to a 4-year university or college. And after that, hopefully find my career in media, which would be some sort of news anchor and some sort of television in front of the camera kind of job.
Honestly, if WBSD wasn't here, I wouldn't be able to find what I really loved, you know?
And you are listening to Great Rock Real Variety, 89.1 FM, WBSD Burlington.
This is Tony Romo of CBS Sports, and you are listening to 89.1 WBSD, my hometown FM radio station in Burlington, Wisconsin.
Hi, y'all. This is Charlie Daniels from the Bow Eagles.
This is Dolly Parton.
This is Miles Zunigan from Fastball, and you're listening to Great Rock Real Variety on 89.1 WBSD Burlington.
Hi, folks. My name's Tim O'Brien.
Hi, this is Susanna Hoff.
Hi, this is Judy Collins.
Hi, this is Mickey Dolenz of the Monkees, and you're listening to Great Rock and Real Variety on 89.1 WBSD in Burlington.
Hi, this is Nick Feldman of Wang Chung.
Hey, this is Rick Springfield.
This is Eric Burden, and you're listening to Great Rock.
This is Stephen Kellogg.
This is Kiefer Sutherland. Listen anywhere at 89WBSD-FM.com.
This is Steve Twigger from Gaelic Storm. Hi, this is Barry Manilow, and you're listening to 89.1 WBSD Burlington.
Hi, this is Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones. Thanks for being there for us these past 50 years.